Ever since the conflict in Ukraine started, there's been a tendency of right opportunists to uncritically support Russia in its invasion of the country. From this, we see the ubiquitous Z, which appears on many social media profiles alongside the Russian flag. The behavior of such people has been wholly disingenuous. The discourse of this war has been wholly dominated by propaganda-led cheerleading from both sides. Both have been quite hollow in substance when it comes to defending NATO or Russia. No scientific socialist analysis has been carried out. This would be wholly expected of those who would not classify themselves as Marxists. We are Marxists, and we are supposed to be doing a scientific socialist analysis. When you refuse to do so, you are refusing to be a Marxist. This tendency of many MLs and a few Maoists, particularly the social media so-called communists, they have uncritically sided with the imperialist ambitions of Russia. These are the same people who wholly support China's imperialist ambitions in Africa as well. We have a clear situation. A US versus Russia proxy war in Ukraine. We know that the US doesn't care for the Ukrainian people, nor does Russia. Both are trying to install and keep a friendly leadership in power in Ukraine. They are either going to be pro-Russia or pro-US. This all began when the pro-Russian leader was ousted by a fascist coup backed by the US. The primary goal of this was to extend NATO into Ukraine and surround Russia. Obviously, it is in Russia's interest to regain that puppet government for their own protection. This is not a black and white situation as both NATO and Putin would have you believe. That would be a reductionist oversimplification for the sake of propaganda. Neither the US capitalist-backed Zelensky nor the Russian capitalist-backed Putin is an ally of any proletariat. They are both bourgeois and inherently fascist from two different perspectives. Putin, the traditional fascist, and Zelensky, US, radical neoliberal fascist. The Ukrainian people have no say in this situation. A bourgeois parliamentarianism. Supporting the invasion nor supporting Zelensky will carry out any proletarian interests. The problem here is this nonsense of multipolarism. Theoretically, if we support the rising of multiple capitalist empires, we as Marxists have wiggle room in which to play different sides. Such an idea is refuted by actual revolutionary practice. Lenin spoke quite intensively about the objective situation. Lenin spoke against Kautsky on a very similar manner to what we see now. He criticized him for his attempt to fight imperialism by supporting petty bourgeois reformist opposition to imperialism. Since the specific political feature of imperialism and reaction everywhere, and increased national oppression due to oppression of the financial oligarchy and the elimination of free competition, a petty bourgeois democratic opposition to imperialism arose at the beginning of the 20th century in nearly all imperialist countries. Kautsky not only did he not trouble to oppose, was not only able to oppose this petty bourgeois reformist opposition, which is really reactionary in its economic basis, but became merged with it in practice. And this is precisely where Kautsky and the broad international Kautskyan trend deserted Marxism. Is this not similar to what we see today? Putin is a representative and a member of the big bourgeoisie. His interests lie in building and maintaining an advantageous situation for Russian capital, including his own, personally. He weaponizes energy resources just as the West weaponizes theirs to forward their spheres of influence. Or we should say spheres of control. This is false. We should not support reaction over other reaction. What do you suppose that builds? Reaction. Lenin spoke very clearly on this as well when rejecting what was advanced by Kievsky, allying with capitalists against imperialism. But this Kievsky argument is wrong. Imperialism is much our mortal enemy as capitalism. That is so. No Marxist will forget, however, that capitalism is progressive compared with feudalism, and that imperialism is progressive compared with pre-monopoly capitalism. Hence, it is not every struggle against imperialism that we should support. We will not support a struggle of the reactionary classes against imperialism. We will not support an uprising of the reactionary classes against imperialism and capitalism. Leninist theory has made it clear not to pursue these vulgar revisionist paths that these people have chosen. Yet they insist on choosing Putin's traditional fascism over American fascism. Why? Why are they doing it? The answer can be found in their social media contents. Their adamant rejection of rights for LGBT people. Their hate of LGBT people by propagation of the conspiracy that they're out to sexualize children, which is ironic given that they're almost universally childish incels. Their utter disgust for the autonomy and independence of Black and First Nations people. Their clutching of reactionary ideas and social conventions. These people have a tendency to ally with Chinese and Russian billionaires via some ridiculous notion of them being socialist billionaires. To them, somehow, those who extract the most surplus value from the working class are to be admired as leaders of the revolution. The same people worship China's leader Xi Jinping, a multi-millionaire himself, and possibly even a billionaire. Many of those people also follow this idea of allying with the capitalists of the industrial sector against the unpatriotic international bankers. A very obvious anti-Semitic dog whistle. This position alone is literally the stance the German Nazi Party took. During recent events, an anti-war rally was held in Washington, D.C. It was dubbed the Rage Against the War Machine rally. Ironic, considering it was wholly in support of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. It should have been described as a rage in favor of Vladimir Putin. There, the leaders and representatives of white supremacist, anti-Semitic, libertarian, neo-Nazi, conspiracy theory, and fascist organizations spoke. Among the attendees were Jordan Page, who wrote the Oath Keepers Anthem, Tatiana Moraz, the anti-vaccine conspiracy theorist, known racist and libertarian Ron Paul, McArdle, and the Mises Caucus, who was promoted on the Alex Jones Show. It included such upstanding principled individuals as the one who claimed the war was a Zionist war against the Slavic people. Matthew Heimbach was present. He was tasked with organizing the 2017 Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville. The anti-war was also supported by Caleb Maupin, the alleged CPI founder, LaRouche anti-Semite, known sexual abuser, and theft of party funds. This was touted as a left and right anti-war front. Interesting that there was no left present. There is a word for this kind of pro-imperialist, pro-capitalist, social conservatism, multipolar nonsense. Fascism. These people must be acknowledged as fascists and purged from the Marxist movement. One must never forget that the German Nazi Party attempted to disguise itself as socialist to gain popularity among the German people. History has repeated itself, first in the tragedy of the Holocaust, and second as the farce of this fascist movement. Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.